Hello, Catherine.
Hello. Is this
How you
Hollis?
doing? This is Hollis.
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing, ma'am? You all right?
Yeah, I'm in Ireland. I believe you are in Arizona. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I'm in Tempe, Arizona. Thank you so much for joining us today from Ireland.
Sure.
It's so cool. You sound good. Okay, the volume is perfect. What I'm going to do is going to mute your mic, finish your intro, and then we'll get started. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show, where we celebrate the power of words and the beauty of storytelling. Join us every week. We have conversations with authors and small business owners. We have exciting lineup of guests who will take us on a literary journey like no other. Join us as we delve into the world of authors and small business owners from diverse backgrounds and cultures, each bringing their own unique perspective and voice to the table. From thrilling memoirs to captivating fiction and business startups, our guests will share their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, offering us a glimpse into the rich tapestry of human experience. Immerse yourself in the magic of words and discovery as we explore the global literary landscape together. So grab a cup of tea, cozy up by the fire, and join us on this adventure of a lifetime. The Hollis Chapman Show is your ticket to a world of imagination, inspiration, and enlightenment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to connect with some of the most talented and compelling voices in literature today. Tune in and let the journey begin.
Hello, and welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show. This is a special Saturday show. Our guest is such a talented lady. She's joining us. Oh, you see it? She's joining us from Ireland. How cool is that? You ask why I like to do podcasts. You like to why I do what I do. Well, that's one great reason. She's joining us from Ireland. That's on my bucket list, by the way. Okay. Our special guest began her career as an actress and then turned to writing plays, many of which has been published and performed in the U.S., England, Australia, and Spain. Without further ado, let's welcome to the show our special guest on this special Saturday, Catherine Butterfield.
Hi.
Hello. Yes, we're back. We're ready. I'm from Ireland. Again, that's on my bucket list. I think it's so cool that you're there. Are you living there now? Or are you guys vacationing there?
We are spending 3 months here inquiring into how to perhaps get an O stamp so that we can devote more time to being in Ireland than the United States.
Yeah, that is so cool. Very good. Okay, so you went from actress to writer. So tell us more about yourself and your newest book, please, ma'am.
Yeah, I was a playwright for many. Well, all right, I'll back up. I was an actress for many years and worked mainly in theater, in New York and regional theater, and then I started writing plays, primarily to be able to be in them initially. But then after a while, my acting took a backseat to just wanting to write the plays for their own sake, and I had a career. And still do as a playwright
Mhm.
for a number of years in New York and in regional theater. And then only in the past few years have I decided to attempt what I consider the final frontier, which is novel writing.
Mhm.
My first novel came out 2 years ago. It was called The Serpent and the Rose, and it was a historical novel about Marguerite de Valois and her stormy relationship with her mother, the famous Catherine de Medici. And then this recent book, which is coming out October 10th, which is 6 days from now,
Yeah.
is a more it's a contemporary novel, and it's almost a memoir. It relies very heavily on my memories of being an actress in New York and the friendships that I made, the women that I became close with. And so I concocted a story about three actresses who meet very young, and it tracks the pretty much 40 something year period of their relationship when one of them, and this is personal for me,
Mm.
one of them disappeared. Uh, that was the jumping off point for this novel because a friend of mine disappeared. and I had to go to New York to try and figure out what had happened to her. It was quite a sad wake up call to discover what had happened. And it was the inspiration for this novel, Manhattan Triptych, um, which I have fictionalized my
Mhm.
my every character's story. Every character is an amalgam of a number of people. But the inspiration was when my friend, who I had lost touch with a little bit, suddenly seemed to just drop off the face of the planet.
Mm. Well, I can feel the emotion in your voice there. So it was very emotional. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm.
Yeah. So how did you approach developing their individual storylines? And I gotta say, I mean, you kind of went over real quickly from being a playwright and actress and stuff like that. Your skill set's like an athlete who can play sports, and then you ask him how he's so good, or how she or he's so good at doing what they do. They said, "I just think it's God given. I just think it's I was born with it." I think it's the same thing with you in a sense. It's the point where your skill set from acting, writing, playwright. Because I've talked to a lot of actors, I mean, or authors, excuse me, and screenwriting's hard. Writing that play stuff is hard to do,
Yeah.
and you do it with ease. I think it's a little gift. Do you think so?
I guess I do because it's, I think, in the blood. My mother was a writer. She was the first undergraduate to have her play produced at Yale Drama School,
Wow.
and she wrote for CBS Radio back in the 40s, and I think she imparted her gift to me in many ways. Um, and my father was had been an actor and also a nightclub singer in New Orleans, way before I knew him, obviously.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I think those two gifts joined together to, you know, to live in me somewhat.
yeah, yeah. how do you how do you break, this, you're basically giving tips to other writers and stuff out there. How do you develop individual storylines for each character? Maybe you got that one character, you got some ideas from realism, but how do you develop the other characters? Do you write it first, sit down, take a minute, then start writing the other one? Because I know myself, I'll get confused. I have enough problems just doing this thing with you by yourself. So how do you do it? How do you develop your characters one by one? How's that
Well, I think,
process?
I mean, I don't know about your process, but for me, I think I invest myself heavily in each character so that, when someone asks me which character is you, I have to say all of them to some
Yeah,
extent, different facets of myself, maybe some of them the less honorable facets and others, something that I'm rather proud of. But boy, it's a hard question too, to say how do you come up with character.
yeah,
I think I start with myself is all I can say, and then I start developing slowly as I go along, and I start individuating character. Um, what makes this character different from this character?
yeah,
What makes what makes him a man?
yeah, yeah,
And what, as a man, if I were a man, I mean, I always go back to who am I? If
right,
I were a man, how would I function in this world? And then if I were a really flawed man, how would I function in this world?
very good.
It's I think you've got to come back to yourself. And as far as how they function within the plot, um, prior to writing this particular book, I was in Ireland again before,
Mhm,
taking a workshop with a wonderful novelist. I don't know if you're familiar with him. His name is Niall Williams,
mhm.
and he wrote the book, This is Happiness, which, oh, if you need to read a book that will raise your spirits and also infuse you with the love of Ireland, that's the book to read. Um, so I took a workshop with him, and one of the things that he said that really stuck with me is that action must spring from character. So as I would be writing the story, I would have two people suddenly encounter each other, and the question comes up, what happens next? You have to look at your characters in order to determine what happens next, because they're the ones that are going to tell you. And
Yeah.
that seemed like my modus operandi when I wrote